Lily Adams was the kind of person who made everyone feel comfortable. At 28, she had a warm and friendly personality that was especially helpful in her job as an orderly at a busy Seattle hospital. Growing up with her grandmother Grace, Lily learned how important kindness and understanding were. Her cheerful smile and gentle demeanor stood out in the often tough hospital environment. One chilly autumn morning, while Lily was working, she saw something odd: a sleek gray cat with bright green eyes sitting outside the hospital entrance. The cat looked out of place and watched everyone with a curious gaze. Each day, as Lily walked by, the cat was always in the same spot. Intrigued, Lily asked Sam, the elderly janitor who had been at the hospital forever, about the cat. Sam, with his weathered face and warm eyes, smiled when Lily brought it up. "Aw, that's Whiskers," Sam said, sounding a bit sad. "He belongs to an old man who used to visit the hospital every week. The man had a bad accident and is now in the ICU. Whiskers has been waiting here every day since then. I've been letting him stay in the storage shed to keep him safe, but he won't leave his spot." Lily felt sorry for the lonely cat. She understood what it was like to be alone and depend on someone. Her grandmother Grace had been her support after her parents passed away when she was young. Seeing Whiskers waiting for his owner reminded Lily of her own bond with Grace. Every day, Lily made sure to visit Whiskers during her breaks. She'd bring him food or just sit with him, giving him a kind word or a gentle pat. Over time, Whiskers began to recognize her and would brighten up when she came. Meanwhile, the hospital was always busy, and Lily's work never seemed to get any easier. Na Evans, a nurse in her early 40s, often crossed paths with Lily. Na was known for being strict and rarely smiled. She was known for being demanding and found Lily's warm and easygoing nature irritating. One day, while Lily was talking to Whiskers, Na walked by and gave her a disapproving look. "You spend more time with that cat than doing your job," Na said sharply. Lily was surprised and tried to explain. "I just feel sorry for him, Na. He's all alone, waiting for his owner to get better." "Well, we're not here to pamper animals," Na replied coldly before walking away. Lily sighed, feeling Na's disapproval weigh on her, but she couldn't bring herself to ignore Whiskers. The cat's loyalty to his owner touched her deeply, and she knew she couldn't just leave him. Around this time, Lily met Edward Bennett, a patient in his early 70s. Edward owned a successful construction company, but despite his wealth, he had simple tastes. His salt and pepper hair and kind but tired blue eyes showed a life of both success and hardship. He was recovering from surgery that had affected his once strong health. Lily was assigned to take care of Edward during his hospital stay, and they quickly became friends. Edward, who was disappointed with his stepson Lucas's careless behavior and his wife Catherine's cold attitude, found comfort in Lily's real kindness. They would chat during her shifts, and Edward grew very fond of her. One day, while Lily was taking care of Edward's room, he brought up something that had been on his mind. "Lily, you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago," Edward said, sounding nostalgic. "You have a warmth that's rare these days." Lily blushed at the compliment. "Thank you, Mr. Bennett. I just try to treat everyone how I'd like to be treated." Edward nodded. "You know, Lily, I've been thinking a lot. My family isn't the easiest to deal with, but you're different. You're genuine." Lily wasn't sure what Edward was getting at, but she listened carefully. There was something in his voice that made her feel he had something important to say, something that might change her life in ways she couldn't yet imagine. As Lily left Edward's room that day, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to his story than she knew. With Whiskers still waiting patiently for his owner, Lily's life was about to change in ways she couldn't yet predict. The suspense was growing, and she had no idea how much her life was going to shift. In the following weeks, Lily and Edward became even closer. Their conversations moved from everyday topics to more personal matters. Edward shared details about his complicated life, including his construction company that he had built from scratch and his growing disappointment with his wife Catherine and stepson Lucas. One afternoon, while Lily was changing the sheets on Edward's bed, he suddenly asked, "Have you ever thought about what you'd do with a large amount of money, like $20 million? The question surprised Lily, and she paused, holding the fresh sheets. $20 million? Lily repeated with a half laugh. I can't even imagine what that would be like. Why do you ask? Edward looked at her seriously, his blue eyes focused on her face. I've been thinking a lot about what I'll leave behind. I'm getting older, and I wonder if the people I leave everything to will appreciate it or just waste it. Lily wasn't sure how to respond. She could tell Edward was building up to something, but she didn't know what. I'm sure your family cares about you, Mr. Bennett, she said carefully. Edward sighed deeply. I wish that were true. My wife, Catherine, seems more interested in what my money can do for her than in me. And Lucas, my stepson, has never been responsible. He's reckless and expects everything to be handed to him. I've had to help him out more times than I can count. Lily nodded, unsure of where this was going. She felt sorry for Edward, who seemed like a man who had given a lot but received little in return. Edward made a decision. Lily, I need your help, he said firmly. There's an important business event coming up, and I need someone to pretend to be my daughter. Lily was surprised. Your daughter? Why me? Because you're the only person I trust right now, Edward explained. This event is crucial for a deal I'm working on. My business partners care a lot about family connections, and I don't have anyone reliable to stand in for me. Lucas is not an option, and Catherine only cares about her own image. I need someone genuine who can help me present the right image. Lily felt a mix of emotions, honored, confused, and a little scared. I don't know, Mr. Bennett, she said slowly. I wouldn't know how to pretend to be someone I'm not, especially at such an important event. Edward reached out and gently touched Lily's arm. Don't worry about anything. I'll handle everything, the clothes, the details. All I need is for you to be there and show your kindness. I'll make sure you're paid for your time. Lily hesitated, realizing how big a request this was. It wasn't just the money. Though being paid to attend a fancy event was tempting, it was also the trust Edward was placing in her. I'll think about it, she said with a small smile. As Lily left Edward's room, she felt both excited and nervous. What he was asking was unlike anything she had done before, and she was worried about getting in over her head. Meanwhile, at Edward's luxurious home, Catherine Bennett was growing more suspicious. She had noticed Edward becoming more distant and secretive. He seemed to be spending less time with her and more time with the young orderly from the hospital. Catherine, always sharp and calculating, started to worry about losing Edward's wealth. She knew the $20 million inheritance was her and Lucas's chance for a life of luxury, and she wasn't going to let anyone come between them and that money. That evening, she called Lucas into the grand parlor while she sipped expensive red wine. Lucas, who had just come home from another late night, slumped into a chair across from her. We need to talk, Catherine said firmly. Your stepfather is up to something, and it involves that girl from the hospital. Lucas rolled his eyes. What's he doing now? Planning to give her a few bucks to keep her quiet? Catherine shook her head. It's something much bigger than that. I don't have all the details yet, but I plan to find out. When I do, we need to be ready to act. We can't let him change his will or give away what's rightfully ours. Lucas, now more interested, leaned forward. What do you want me to do? Keep a close eye on him, Catherine said, and make sure that girl stays away from him. We can't afford any mistakes. The $20 million is ours, Lucas, and we're not letting anyone take it from us. As the night went on, the tension in the Bennett household increased. Lily didn't know that her choice to help Edward would soon involve her in a dangerous mix of loyalty, betrayal, and greed. Lily spent several sleepless nights thinking about Edward's proposal. Posing as his daughter for an important event was scary, but she couldn't ignore the trust Edward had shown her. It wasn't just the promise of payment that made her consider it. It was the real connection she felt with him. He was lonely, and his family had let him down. If she could help him, even in this unusual way, she decided it was worth the risk. The next day, she went back to Edward's room, where he was anxiously waiting for her answer. "Mr. Bennet," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. "I'll do it. I'll help you at the event." Edward's face brightened with relief and thanks. "Thank you, Lily. You don't know how much this means to me." As promised, Edward took care of everything. He arranged for a personal stylist to help Lily get ready for the event. She got a beautiful dress, elegant jewelry, and even a makeover at a fancy salon. For someone who was used to wearing scrubs and practical clothes, the change was overwhelming, but Lily felt excited too. On the night of the event, Edward's driver came to pick Lily up from her simple apartment. Grace, her grandmother, watched proudly as her granddaughter, looking elegant and graceful, got into the luxurious car. "Remember who you are, Lily," Grace called out as the car drove away. "Be true to yourself." Lily's grandmother, Grace, said as she watched Lily get into the fancy car. Lily held those words close to her heart as she was driven to the grand event. The venue, a stunning ballroom in downtown Seattle, was amazing. Crystal chandeliers sparkled from the ceiling, and the soft chatter of Seattle's elite filled the air as they mingled and networked. Edward was waiting for Lily near the entrance. When he saw her, he smiled warmly. "Lily, you look fantastic. I knew you'd fit right in." "Thank you, Mr. Bennet," Lily said, still feeling a bit out of place but comforted by Edward's confidence. As the evening went on, Lily began to feel more at ease. Edward introduced her as his daughter, and she played the part with a natural ease that surprised even herself. The guests seemed to like her, charmed by her genuine interest in their conversations. But as the night went on, Lily noticed something odd. Lucas had shown up at the event. Even though Edward had said he wasn't supposed to be there, he was hanging around the edges of the room, watching Lily and Edward closely. There was something unsettling about his gaze, making Lily feel uneasy. As Lily and Edward mingled, Lucas saw his chance. He approached Lily at the refreshment table with a sneer. "Well, if it isn't Daddy's little princess," he said mockingly. "Enjoying your big night out?" Lily was surprised by his hostility but kept her composure. "I'm just here to help Mr. Bennet," she said calmly. "Help him?" Lucas laughed harshly. "You're just a pawn in his game. Do you really think he cares about you? He's using you to make himself look good. Once he's done with you, he'll just throw you away like the rest of us." His words hurt, but Lily tried not to show it. "I'm not here for the money or status, Lucas. I'm here because I care about him, which you clearly don't understand." Lucas's eyes narrowed, and Lily thought he might get aggressive. Instead, he leaned in closer and spoke in a low, threatening tone. "You don't know what you're getting into. But don't worry, it's all going to fall apart soon enough." Before Lily could reply, Lucas turned and walked away, blending into the crowd. Her heart raced as she tried to understand his warning, feeling that something was seriously wrong. As the evening went on, Lily's unease grew. Edward noticed she was upset and asked if she was okay, but she didn't want to worry him and said she was fine. As the event was wrapping up, the atmosphere changed. There was a tense feeling in the air, and Lily noticed Catherine, who had arrived late, standing off to the side and watching her with a cold stare. It was clear Catherine was up to something, but Lily couldn't figure out what. Just as the night was coming to an end, Lucas appeared again, holding a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice echoing through the room, "I have a little surprise for you all." Lily's heart sank as she realized Lucas was about to carry out his threat. The room went silent, and everyone turned to listen as Lucas spoke. Lily Adams, he said, pointing at her, isn't who she claims to be. She's not Edward Bennett's daughter. She's a fraud and a gold digger using my stepfather for his money. The crowd gasped and whispered in shock. Lily felt her face go pale as she stood frozen, overwhelmed by Lucas's accusations. She looked at Edward, who was staring at Lucas in disbelief, clearly surprised by his stepson's betrayal. Before Lucas could say more, Olivia, Edward's loyal assistant, stepped forward. That's enough, Lucas, she said firmly. You're the one trying to manipulate your stepfather, and everyone knows it. The room fell silent again, with a thick sense of tension. Lucas looked taken aback for a moment. Then his face hardened. You're all idiots, he said, before storming out of the room, leaving everyone in stunned silence. Lily was upset, but Olivia's support gave her the strength to stay strong. Edward came over to her, showing his unwavering support. Don't worry, Lily, he whispered. We'll get through this together. Even with the chaos, Edward and Lily's bond grew stronger. But Lily knew the trouble was far from over. Catherine and Lucas were still a threat, and their greed for the $20 million inheritance would make them even more dangerous. As the night ended, Lily wondered what would happen next but was determined to face whatever came. In the days after the event, things were tense in Edward Bennett's life. Lucas's accusations had stirred up trouble, not just among Edward's friends and family but also in his business world. Despite this, Edward was determined to protect Lily and stand up to the threats from his wife and stepson. Lily, though shaken, found comfort in Edward's support. She spent more time at the hospital, trying to focus on her work and push away the worry. But the feeling of danger never fully left her. One afternoon, as Lily was finishing her shift, Olivia came to her with a serious look. Lily, you need to know something. Catherine and Lucas are still causing trouble. They're trying to pressure Edward into changing his will. Lily felt a wave of worry. What are they planning? I don't have all the details, Olivia said, but I know they're desperate. They want that $20 million, and they'll do anything to get it. Lily felt scared but knew she had to stick by Edward. We have to stop them, she said firmly. That evening, Lily went to Edward's house to warn him. When she arrived, she found him in his study, looking tired but determined. Edward, they're coming after you, she said directly. You need to protect yourself. Edward nodded, looking worn out but resolute. I know, Lily. I've already made some plans. The will is set, and you're named as my heir. But there's something more I need to do. What is it? Lily asked, her heart racing. I'm divorcing Catherine, Edward said quietly. She's shown her true colors, and I can't let her or Lucas have any claim on my estate. It's time to cut ties. Before Lily could respond, the study door flew open. Catherine stormed in, looking furious, with Lucas right behind her, also angry. You think you can just cut us out like this? Catherine shouted. We're your family. Edward remained calm but firm. You were never really my family. You only wanted my money. It ends now. Lucas tried to step forward, but Edward kept his distance. It's over, Lucas. You've lost. The inheritance and my trust are gone. Catherine sneered. You'll regret this, Edward. You'll end up alone, and no one will care. Lily, standing with Edward, spoke up. You're wrong, Catherine. Edward has people who care about him for who he is, not for his money. Realizing they couldn't win, Catherine and Lucas left the study in anger, leaving Edward and Lily alone in the quiet room. In the weeks that followed, Edward's divorce was finalized, and Lucas was completely cut off from his life. Edward's health improved, and he began to rebuild his life, free from the negativity of his former family. One sunny afternoon, while they relaxed in his garden, Edward made a life-changing decision for Lily. "Lily, you've become like the daughter I never had. I want to make it official, if you're willing." Tears filled Lily's eyes as she nodded. "Yes, Edward, I'd be honored." They became a new family, built on trust, loyalty, and love. With Grace and Irene there, and Whiskers happily lounging nearby, they found a peace they had longed for. The $20 million inheritance was no longer a source of stress but a symbol of their new life together. In the end, it wasn't the money that mattered but the strong bonds they had created.